I am super excited to start off today's session. The first question that I have is, in your opinion, what are the key challenges in creating a resilient learning culture, and how can organizations overcome them?
Okay, so Pragya, I'll begin with talking about the key challenges that we typically experience in any L&D landscape. The main challenge is, of course, the measuring of the impact of the kind of interventions that you build or even implement for the organization or for the employees. So quantifying the impact, till date continues to remain a gray area. And how does this learning impact an employee's performance directly is something that's pretty challenging to measure, and sometimes of course is not something that can be measured on an immediate basis. So because it is this tough, it is sometimes very difficult to gain the support from senior leadership, right? Because they look at how do your learning initiatives create an impact, and if they don't understand how do you create the impact, it becomes difficult to get their buy-in, and wherein it becomes difficult to implement an initiative. Of course, the ever-present resistance to change from employees and from typical organizations continues to remain. So most of us are comfortable with existing learning methods, opportunities. Some of us still believe that learning is a tick in the box, and you do get queries like, I have not undergone a learning program for a year, but is that something that you needed in the first place? Is something that people fail to kind of understand or even question. So employees are wary to change, and of course continue to be wary to adapting newer learning methodologies which challenge them more, and try and measure the benefits out of any learning. So that becomes a bigger challenge when it comes to implementing new age initiatives. Of course, it is very important to align any learning to business goals, and as I said, learning sometimes for some employees becomes a tick in the box, and unless you are able to evaluate and even confirm to business on how their strategy would be helped by implementation of certain learning initiatives, or probably even insufficient communication with your key stakeholders, learning becomes a miss in the company's overall mission, right? And then it probably becomes something that's a bit late to the party, if I may say. Of course, with all the changes that we see in today's learning space, technology, how do you implement new age technologies, and how do you ensure that your employees and leaders understand it, also becomes a question of budgets more than anything else. Learning, while important, for most organizations, if I seek 100% of an amount, I'll probably end up getting 80 or 90. It is very rare that learning gets the budget that it deserves, and that does become a challenge, with creating a resilient learning culture, which is also in line with today's expectations. Now, certain things that probably help me, manage these challenges, and first thing is that I continue to focus on competencies, because that is a starting point of all things when it comes to your job roles or when it comes to even learning. I believe it is very important to adapt assessment methods that continuously evolve. Ensure that you have alternative methods like a project or a presentations or a performance assessment that is linked to any learning program that you implement for an employee. This ensures that you have a result-based learning program, and we have in fact implemented similar programs for the past year with Royal Sundaram, and we've actually got great results, and of course a lot of buy-in from the leadership on account of the learning being more relevant, right? We also, need to probably promote a culture of continuous learning. So learning cannot happen over a break or when it is convenient for the employee. Learning is something that's important. And if required, we need to tie in with the required educational institutions, understand best practices from other organizations, which means that you encourage employees to look out, collaborate with other organizations, share thoughts with other colleagues, and ensure that the organization operates as a whole and we do not learn in silos. Learning is also lifelong. Hence, it is imperative that we give the employees the flexibility to acquire skills at various stages. So it cannot be that I have a 1-year learning plan for you and that is what you need to go by, right? There are stages in your life and stages in your work life wherein you probably need to learn newer things, and it is important that organizations appreciate that. We have tried to appreciate that aspect in Royal Sundaram, and we've built learnings as per various levels, various changes in how an employee needs to manage their roles and responsibilities within the organization. And the most important action, I believe, at least wherever possible, or where it is especially possible for smaller organizations, is to hyper-personalize learning, wherein you match the learning to the professional goals of the employee, or you match the learning to a department or to a specific position that certain set of employees are in, or even customize the pace of learning, as I mentioned. So, these are certain methodologies that we have adopted in Royal Sundaram, at least since the past couple of years, and we've seen a fair amount of success. There is a lot more traction when it comes to learning. There is a lot more interest from employees, and a lot of employees do come back asking, as to when will they get an opportunity to learn more or to learn something else. So that's something that has helped me, is what I would say.
Excellent. These were really interesting points, because what I figured from this was that you first strategized it, created a plan. You have all the measures of measuring what the impact of these plans are, how you're executing them, and making sure that employees are fully engaged, which is not a short-term plan. You have a long-term plan for all of these employees also. So these are really interesting. Thank you so much for these.